I know it's been like a month since the Winter Olympics finished, but there's still just a girl. She's skating through my mind all day. I feel like all of us that were introduced to Alysa Liu during the Winter Olympics had the same sequence of thoughts when we first saw her. Okay, absolutely loving the style, the hair. Oh my God, unique and also amazing song choice. All right, very good at skating, which is to be expected. Okay, now why am I crying? Even those of us who do not keep our fingers to the pulse of figure skating could tell that there's something different about this girl. A new it girl has arrived. The joy that she has for skating just like radiates through every movement, and I really cannot describe or like cannot understand what exactly she is doing differently, other than she just feels like she's moving through the motions differently than everyone else, even though like you put it side by side, you're like, yeah, you're doing the same thing, but like there's some special sauce over here. And that special sauce that she's got is just unadulterated joy. No, love. Hey, that's Munchkin. She'll be here and she's yelling. Understandable. I'm 10 years older than Alysa Liu, but somehow I still want to be her when I grow up. And I think I'm speaking for a lot of us when I say that. She really is becoming an it girl at the time she is needed the most, because she really is like a ray of hope in this dark, twisted world we're living in right now. You can't help but see the joy that she has while she's skating and wish that you could capture that for yourself and simultaneously have an insane amount of fun while doing something while you're also like really fucking good at it. Although I'm going to be real, I don't really care very much about being like the best in the world at anything really. And honestly, neither does Alysa Liu. She just happens to be really fucking talented and then put in the hours many years ago, even though it was not a healthy thing then. But I just want to be able to look at anything I create and love the outcome just as much as I love the doing and the making of the thing. And I do think that I'm definitely getting there, but I still have a lot to learn. So that is what we're going to chat about a little bit in this video. I want to talk about the art of shenanigans. And while we do that, I'm going to do something that I love doing, and I think I'm pretty good at it too, which is crafting. Over on this channel, we do a whole lot of crafting or yapping, but usually we got the best of both worlds and we're doing both simultaneously. So subscribe if you're into that. And we are going to be specifically crafting some Alysa Liu inspired crafts. She's a very fun, funky girl. And so I also feel like I'm a fun, funky girl, so I can be even more fun and funky by doing things inspired by her. And there are two things we're going to be crafting today. First, I'm going to be making some like fun, like patterned tights. She seems to wear a lot of fun patterned tights in her practice stuff. At least that's what it seemingly is when I look at all the photos. And I know that I can just buy some of those tights. I actually do have leopard print tights, like probably the exact same ones that she had, not intentionally, just I happen to. And I have had those like spiral tights in my like wish list thing on Amazon for a long time. For some reason, I just have never actually bought them. So, and I'm taking that as a sign to just try and make my own. Maybe not exactly spiral tights, but maybe something equally as fun with maybe like a different design on each side. And then also maybe in the future, since I am a Renaissance Fair girly, then I can wear these tights to the Ren Fair too. So double whammy. I'll probably also wear them in my everyday life, but we'll just see. We're gonna let the craft take control and see where it takes us as we are making these tights throughout this little vloggy vlog. Second, I am inspired by the specific like Vogue cover of Alysa Liu. I don't know if these are her hair things. They probably aren't. They were probably like styled, but I feel like it fits her well. And I have been wanting to make fun little hair clips for myself because I love a fun accessory or fun hair thing, obviously, as my hair is just... So I am a chronic knick-knack hoarder, collector, whatever word we want to use. And I also have some just like plain clips. So they're gonna be merged together. I'm literally just gonna glue them together. That's the craft. So those are the crafts we're gonna do while we're talking about being inspired by Alysa Liu. In our mindset, we're also gonna be inspired by her a little bit in the way we dress. And hopefully in the end of the video, I'll put together maybe a little like Alysa Liu inspired full look with the things that we're crafting and things from my closet, because I like a fun, funky, style. Now, while I'm getting started doing that, let's get back to the topic at hand, which is the ever amazing Alysa Liu and learning from her mindset mixed a little bit with my own mindset. Not that I'm comparing myself to an Olympic athlete, but we do need some examples of doing things just for the joy of doing things without it resulting in literally winning an Olympic gold medal. And I feel like I'm pretty qualified at talking about doing things just for the joy of doing things, especially silly things that other people think are cringe. As someone who has been cosplaying anime and video game characters for 15 years, I feel like I'm pretty qualified to speak on doing things just for the sake of doing things because you have fun doing it. Because even though now cosplaying is seen as a little bit more cool, still cringe to some people, but it's a little cooler now. I was doing it even when it was not cool even a little bit. Like it was just all the way cringe to most people. So I feel like I can talk a little bit about my mindset of like getting better at that thing. And on top of that, I feel like I'm pretty good at it. And really the only thing that keeps me fueled in making cosplay and all of the weird ass skills that go into that is the love of the game. I'm not really striving for any like award or ribbon or anything. I'm just out here having fun, improving my craft. So in that way, I'm a little bit like Alysa Liu, just a little bit. Except for the not winning any medals kind of thing. But the whole thing we're talking about is not caring about that. That's not the important part here. I've got these blue, very opaque tights here. And I feel like these are a good contender for some sort of pattern because no matter what we put on, it will be it'll be less opaque than the tights. So therefore it will stand out more versus some of my other tights that I have that are a little bit more... I'm going to be real. I always forget what the opposite word for opaque is because to me, the word opaque sounds like the opposite of what it is. So it just bothers me. Something about my brain and the word opaque do not get along. But either way, I have tights that are less see-through. And I feel like some of those would be harder to paint on because I would have to maybe put like a white primer first and then something else on top if I wanted it to be like a specific other fun color. I am debating whether I just want to do the spirals because I have been wanting those spiral tights for a long time, but I feel like I could do something more fun. I feel like even just like a little bit of like messy line, like pin stripes going up that would be more like handmade would be kind of fun because they would be more organic shaped rather than like very uniform. I think that could be really fun, but maybe that's just on one. And then the other one, we could do an easy one that people do a lot is like diamonds, but I feel like there's some other stuff we could do. Maybe even polka dots on the other one, but there's such juxtaposing things. I don't know. Good plan. Let's go. We should also go knick-knack hunting in lots of my drawers and things because I shove my knickknacks in all kinds of places. I really do need to get one spot for them all to live together happily, but instead they are strewn about. If all else fails, we just have a bunch of buttons and I know where all my buttons are, so that's also a possibility. Ideally, we actually add some buttons in with the other knickknacks, so then there's maybe some cohesive elements throughout, and those would be the buttons. So I'm here to help detach a little bit from the toxic mindset that has been drilled into our minds from our mega capitalist society overlords that wants to suck us dry of all of our sources of joy and then make us associate all of our joy with money and or things that can be attained via money. Because anytime you try and dip your toe into the side of the internet that's like, go for your goals and things like that, it's very easy to like get pulled in and be drowned by like goal maxing, or discipline maxing, or have the hustle mindset, going for the grind, that kind of stuff. It's not my vibe. Because I feel like that is like a fast track to like being in like a depressive void. Because the problem with that mindset is that all the validation you're getting is from achieving the goals. And often those goals are not even really in your control. But then what happens is you start pointing the finger at other people or even thinking like you're a piece of shit or something because you can't hit these like metrics that like are out of your control. Like maybe like the internet stats, the algorithm shit. And there are other examples, but that's just, where my mind is a lot of the time. Being here and trying to do this. And even sometimes your goals end up being things that wouldn't even be your goals if you didn't have an algorithm telling you like, this is what you want, right? Like, would you have wanted those things really if you weren't just like scrolling on your phone for too much and getting like sucked into like other people's goals or like the goals that other people are telling you should have, Either way, all I'm saying is that if you are only striving for an end goal and not working on your internal like feelings towards the thing that you are doing while you're doing it, then I feel like you'll end up feeling kind of empty because the goalpost is on wheels. Like you will get there and then it just is going to move down the line. Like you have another goal after that. And I'm not saying don't have goals. This is like a nuanced conversation. And I'm saying you want it to not just be the goal. Like you don't want to just solely be fueled by the goal is what I'm saying. And you want to have fun on your way to the goal. You might be wondering why I'm painting directly onto my legs versus a couple of other methods, which would maybe be like putting cardboard into them so they can stretch, or maybe even like protecting my legs somehow, which the only way I could really think is to do plastic wrap, and that would just be hard to do with tights on. But I didn't do cardboard because I just can't be sure cardboard is going to stretch the same amount that it would be if it was on my legs, especially because like it stretches in different amounts at different parts of my leg. And also I wouldn't know like if it's like placed correctly on cardboard versus this. I know exactly where things are going and they're placed exactly where I want them to be. I'm just kind of wing-dinging it. I was looking through some fun gesture art on Pinterest to kind of get some inspo to do some fun designs on these tights. So I decided to go with these stars on my knees. And I think I'm going to do stripes on this one and then maybe other stars around this one. But the rest of the stars are going to be small. I will do whatever calls to me. I will say for this project and any project you really have where you're going to paint with acrylic onto fabric, getting something like this textile medium is kind of crucial for me at this point because it makes acrylic a little bit more flexible. And you do it like 1 part paint to 2 part medium. So it's a lot of this. And since I always sporadically want to paint onto fabric, I pretty much always keep this on me. I keep that thing on me in my craft room. This stuff, you want this stuff. And even though I thrift and collect a lot of these knickknacks and definitely suggest that you should use things that you already have, but there are a couple of these things that you can just find online. If you're interested in getting any of the supplies for it, I will be linking all the things down below in the description so you can make it yourself. But I recommend looking at the thrift store first, or even like your like no buy like groups on Facebook and things. People are getting rid of all kinds of random stuff all the time. So first try the sustainable option for me, okay? And I know we hear the phrase, enjoy the journey, not just the destination kind of thing all the time. And you're thinking like, yeah, but like how the fuck do you actually do that? Especially when goallessness is kind of disorienting, especially since it's not like what we're really used to a lot of the time. And honestly, it feels kind of impossible to fully detach yourself from goal setting in this current society that we live in. So how do we live in the little Goldilocks zone, you know, just right? So I'm thinking that we need to find like a ratio here. For me, I personally still set goals, but I am always reminding myself to have fun, which obviously, but I do feel like there's 3 main like mindset shifts that help you enjoy the journey part, you know? And those things are fighting the mean little voice in your head, learning to flow, and giving yourself time to play. So let's first tackle that mean little voice in your head. It is a long-term thing of getting that voice under control and consciously opposing it every time it comes up. But I feel like a good place to start is to not dream of competition, because I definitely do not dream of competition or being like the top of my game. I don't want to be there. Sounds like a lot of pressure. I'd rather be like comfortably in the middle, making a very normal, healthy amount of money that makes me be able to live a happy life where I'm not having to stress. That's all I'm asking for. I don't need riches and riches and riches. I don't need to be Mr. Beast. I feel like there's some emptiness in his eyes, and I'm not about that. Do I strive to have the skills and talent of people that I admire? Yes. But that doesn't have anything to do with like awards they've won or like their ranking in anything. It is solely based on my appreciation of their artistry in their craft. This is really evident for me in the cosplay world, because I can't tell you who has won like the top international or even just national cosplay competitions, even though I know they have amazing skills when I go and look into them. But I honestly hold those people of like the same high esteem that I hold some of my friends that I know are capable of some of the exact same skills that the people who have won these competitions have. Like, I see the evidence that they can do the thing that these people are doing. So like, why hold this person higher than that person? You know, just because they won an award, I don't know, whatever. That's what I mean. I like look at the skill and I go, that's a cool skill. I want to learn how to do said skill. Let me do skill until good at skill and have fun doing skill while getting better at skill. Talking like your toddler. A lot of times we need to talk with ourselves that way. All right, I'm looking a little insane, but I can't tell if I love it or hate it. I know I definitely don't hate it. I will say, now that I'm looking at them a little bit more, do I do both sides striped? Maybe I take a picture, put it in my iPad and see, maybe duplicate to the other side, see if I like it. And then I'll also maybe do another version where I do the stars on this side and see which one I like more. I also, for this video, might just do the front and worry about the back later because I gotta get this video out for you guys. And then also the backs, I do think I'll have to put cardboard in. I didn't really think about that, but then there'll already be the lines that I have now to kind of guide me. So I think that's going to be the move. I do think with a full like look on that complements it, it could look very, very cool. No, I think I like it. I think I might like it. Who knows? Who knows? Not me. But it is late at night for me right now. So I'm not going to go ahead and do the other one until tomorrow. I feel like already pulling yourself out of this like competition mindset helps you already be kinder to yourself because you're not just like constantly having to compare yourself to like someone who's quote unquote better or anything. And it lets you focus more on like the practice of the skill. And I know that even in that, then sometimes you can start competing with your own self, being like, well, I need to get better every time. But that's just like not how humans work. So you kind of also have to be nice to your brain and be like, hey, I won't show up like an automatically better version of myself every single day, because you're not like a robot where like every day you're just installing new like chips of information. So then you can immediately acquire all that information the next day. Like that's not how we work. And I'm really glad that we don't work that way, because even in the mistakes that we make in like our down periods help us to learn to be better during our up periods, you know? And that's beautiful. Learning from our mistakes. But then it's fine if you make the mistake a few times. Like you need to just give yourself some grace. Here to interrupt once more. It is now the next day and I gotta finish these suckers. And I asked Instagram and they voted on more stars. And then I also laid out my knickknacks in an arrangement that I think I want to do for the hair things. I honestly feel like I probably have better knickknacks around, but I just haven't really had the time to do a lot of cleaning lately in all my craft spaces. I just had to go with what I could find in the places I knew knickknacks were. It is what it is, but I still think that some of them are going to be cute. One of the ones I'm doing, I am going to be sewing it down like by hand instead of gluing it, just in case I want to use like some of the stuff in the future. The rest of the stuff is just going to get glued. Now back to the yapping. But we're not here to pretend like bad days do not happen, okay? Joy does not happen from just ignoring sadness and badness, okay? Because that really puts you more in a state of like wanting to flee. Because for the most part, when you feel bad feelings, you're like, I don't want to feel this and I want to fully detach myself from anything that is making me feel these bad things. But it's actually so important for you to sit in those feelings because emotions are what makes you human and you're denying yourself the human experience. And the human experience is where art and joy comes from. And realistically, feeling only happy feelings would be insane. And that would not be good for your psyche. It would literally be like TikTok. You're just scrolling, dopamine hit. And then it just like is a droll eventually. And then when you pull away, you're like, wow, nothing else is happening. There's no meaning to anything. You know, life needs some contrast. It needs some seasoning. And the seasoning is in the sadness. After I already filmed the sit down and chat part, I found this video on Instagram and it explains way better kind of the concept I was trying to portray. I'm going to go ahead and let this creator be much more eloquent in what I was trying to say.
Here are 3 hard things that I do in order to turn pain into self-love instead of suffering. Hard thing number 1, understand your defense mechanisms. Distraction, doom scrolling, drugs, going out drinking. These are all coping mechanisms that we use in order to stop ourselves from having to feel that pain, but it always comes back, which is why we need to instead do hard thing number 2, which is sit in our pain. Sit down, get comfortable, drop your awareness from your head to that pain in your stomach, really cozy up to it. Don't judge it. Don't try to move away from it. Say simply, pain is here. It is going to feel like you are getting sucked into a black hole that you will never emerge from, but I promise you, it will be okay. Hard thing number 3 is to cultivate joy. It's actually a lot harder than it sounds. Once your pain is just manageable enough, start getting an idea of how you feel joy. Think to yourself, I feel good when I exercise. I feel good when I eat these foods. I feel good when I get enough sleep. In the same way that you curl up to your pain to experience it fully, we're going to do the same thing with our joy. Pain is inevitable, but this is good news because that means you don't have to be ashamed of it. Cozy up to it. Get used to it. Learn to live with it. I use that word very purposefully. Learn. The skill that you are learning is resilience, otherwise known as equanimity. The elimination of suffering is only the perfection of the skill of equanimity, which takes time and practice. When you resist your pain, you will find yourself lashing out at people that you love. You will feel totally confused and overwhelmed by your own internal world. You will hide from love and abandon others if you suffer from avoidant attachment, or cling to love and abandon yourself if you suffer from anxious attachment. You will become like a snake eating its own tail. Your avoidance of pain is what creates the circumstances that lead to more pain. Here's the most important part. Cultivating resilience is the hardest thing that you will ever do. And I am not exaggerating. It is hard because it is existentially terrifying. When we face our destructive behaviors, we find that it challenges our identity. And so when we come to terms with the ways in which we have hurt ourselves and others, it feels like the air is being sucked out of the room. But you can do it. It doesn't have to be perfect, and it doesn't have to happen all at once. Be brave as you face your goal. I believe in you.
And once again, we have Alysa Liu with an amazing quote. A bad story is still a story, and I think that's beautiful. There's no way to lose. Yeah, I'm with you, girl. The stories that make me cry, ooh, those are good. Those are good. They make me feel emotions, and I want to feel them. So allowing yourself to feel these things and training your brain that these feelings are not bad feelings to have and that they are normal and healthy to have, and they just need to be felt and worked through rather than shoved away. Then joy can come out. Are you there yet? I don't know. Am I explaining this well? Who knows? Either way, Alysa Liu is someone who is accepting her humanity, and she lives in the present moment, and you can feel that through her performance. And that is why she's such a breath of fresh air. Because most Olympic stories are just about the suffering. And yes, she did put in the hours and did the grind when she was little, but that mindset is what got her into retirement and sapped her of all her joy. So excellence does not need to be fueled by fear. It can be anchored in joy. That's what she's teaching us. And realistically, I do think we need a little ratio of like joy to struggle in this world we live in. But it should definitely be more joy, like 75-25, 75 good feelings and 25 struggle, which struggle doesn't necessarily need to be bad per se, but just like challenge, because challenge is where you grow. But really, in order to have this balance, I feel like there needs to be some meditative practices. And I don't mean like sitting and meditating necessarily. I more mean like a flow state. And this is where learning to flow comes in. Life nowadays is like extremely fast paced and there's never really time to breathe even. So we definitely don't have time to think or wonder or just like take in what's happening around us. If you have no time to even think and you're just running, then your tank goes to zero pretty fast. And then we wonder why we can't face difficult situations or face challenges when we're going towards our goals. Meanwhile, our tank is literally empty. The mental capacity is at zero. So yeah, you can like actually meditate if that's what your thing is, but the flow state can be achieved in many ways. It is not about trying your best at something It is just a time where you are able to put all of your mental focus into a single activity and you're fully immersed. I know that some of the times I've felt flow state are like playing rhythm games, like just the right level of difficulty for like a rhythm game. Ooh, it hits. Also, sometimes with cooking or gardening, you like the things you know you just need to kind of get done and you're just vibing and you're letting yourself just do the thing that isn't like too crazy hard that you're having to think really hard about it, but it's also not too easy that you're incredibly bored by it. And the science of it recommends setting aside at least 90 minutes to like try to achieve and stay in flow state for like max results, I suppose. But also, we don't need to like do maximum efficiency, but it's just, if you can. Also, ideal to do it twice a week, apparently, which I definitely don't do that right now, but we're all trying to get better. You also want to figure out what time of day you feel the most focused. I'm still trying to figure out what my time of day is because like I am a night owl, but sometimes when I wake up in the morning and I'm just like on it, I can lock in the morning and I can do so much and it's like really feels great. So who knows? I'm still trying to figure out my own self. Either way, I'm not an expert at flow state stuff. There's lots and lots of information about it on the internet, especially because it's like so unique to every single person and with like every single like type of craft or thing that you do is like different. So I'm just here to tell you that we got to have a practice of getting into the flow because you can make it a practice. I do know that. People do that. And the flow state does allow like a separation of ego, I feel like, because you're just doing the thing to do the thing. And it's not like you're trying to be the best. You're just doing it. And that's what I'm trying to tell us that we're trying to practice that. So flow state, no ego. Must practice, no ego. And I do feel like if you are able to achieve some sort of long-term focus, then that's a big win nowadays. And then also it kind of proves to yourself that you can do the thing you've been trying to do. You can do the hard thing of just focusing and doing the thing that you love to do. Because it's not like you haven't been able to do it because you're not capable. You haven't been able to do it because you haven't been able to give yourself the mental capacity and space to do it. So that's what we're trying to build into our lives here. The capacity and space to work towards the skills that we want to build, to feel great about ourselves, to be like, wow, I'm doing things that I like to do and I'm making time to do it. And it brings me joy. And I almost feel like entering the flow state is literally like entering a different like space and place in your brain. And you need to slowly create that space for yourself. And the more you are in that place, the more you are comfortable in it, the more you can find the balance that you want to create for yourself between challenging yourself and playing. And we're really trying to get comfortable at finding that sweet spot because that sweet spot will probably be different like every time you show up. But the more you do show up, the better we're going to get at it. And that is where you can unlock the joy, the state of being where you're just like irradiating, like, damn, that person is having a good time. Those are the vibes we're trying to give off. And I did mention having fun. And so I feel like we got to talk about the importance of giving yourself time to play. And I feel like these kind of go together. The flow state and the play can be one and the same. But I do feel like the slight difference is that playing can be just doing silly stuff. And I feel like that's important. I really do. Because I'm not wanting us to get too heavy into like the gamifying of life and being like, well, I need to achieve flow state every day or this many times for this many minutes every week and every month. Because then we're getting too serious. We want a balance. Everything is a balance. But I guess even the balance can be stressful. I don't know. I don't want to think about it too much. I'm just saying that for me, if life is so regimented that there's no time for like an occasional spontaneous 2:00 chat on the phone with a friend or an occasional just like night on the town, then you're keeping yourself a little too caged. And with the play comes a little bit of freedom. And another thing about play is that it's not about being good at something when you're playing. You got to let yourself be bad at things. You got to like give yourself the space to just be bad. And not because you're sitting there thinking like, oh, the bad is the first step to being good. We're not even thinking about like in the future of being good. We're just having fun. And if at the end you think it looks bad, you gotta sit with that and be like, why do I think that? Am I having an existential crisis? Even just literally like, am I talking myself in circles with this thing? Cause then I'm like, then you have to analyze everything and that's not fun. But I do kind of have fun doing that. At the end of the day, I feel like there are things that you do because you want to be good at them. And there are things that you allow yourself to do just to do. And it doesn't matter if you're good or bad. It is play. You're doing it because it's fun, not because you're trying to improve. So I want us all to get out there and joy quest. Okay, we want to find things and do things that will maximize our joy. I'm just going to spitball some ideas. Get ordained. Maybe find someone that will let you marry them. Sign up for sword fighting lessons. I really want to do that. Volunteer at your local like senior resident living facility. I looked up some stuff and you can like host bingo nights, arts and craft things. You can even bring your dog because they have like dog days because interacting with animals is like good. Join your local juggling club because that's free. Like you can just juggle anything if you learn how to juggle. If you don't want to do something as weird, I'd recommend looking up silent book clubs, which is basically you just go to a place where everyone agrees to go and silently read a book that you want to read. And then like before and after you can do like some chatting with other book people, but that's fun. Also can be free if you get the book from the library. I'm always plugging the library. If you want to find ways to be a little bit more disobedient in your everyday life, because we should all be flexing that muscle a little bit, then maybe try out dumpster diving. I really do want to try dumpster diving. You can get some cool free stuff out of that. Especially for me, I'm a crafty person. I can like fix things and I just feel like I'm a prime candidate for dumpster diving is all I'm saying. Outside of that, personally, I would really love to learn how to cobble. I think that's a dying skill. I would also like to try out bookbinding or like leather working. But a lot of those things cost money to have like an introductory like tools and stuff. One day I want to try it. Anyways, all I'm saying is do things for the joy of doing things and disconnect from the goals. Because the lesson here isn't like just chill out a little bit and you're going to maybe win some awards. The lesson is when you start doing things out of the sheer love of doing the thing or making the art, because the joy itself will make the thing extraordinary. And if you share it, it can also inspire others, which is even better than a medal or an award because you've created connection and community and just happiness in your own life. So while looking into all of this, an Audre Lorde quote was shared that I thought was really beautiful and wonderful. And I think really encompasses everything we've been talking about here. The sharing of joy, whether physical, emotional, psychic, or intellectual, forms a bridge between the sharers, which can be the basis for understanding much of what is not shared between them and lessens the threat of their difference. Amazing. So beautiful. So sharing in our joy really shows all of us our like commonality of being human, you know, and that's beautiful. And on top of that, joy is a revolutionary force. We need it as much as we need anger because it is joy that will keep us in these bodies long enough to enact justice. So go find some joyful shenanigans to do today. Don't be a robot. The billionaires are already trying to turn as much of us as they can into unoriginal robots with all their AI bullshit. So maximize the joy in everything you do because living with your emotions is the most human thing you can do. And that's what we're here to be. Okay. All right. I hope you were able to get something out of this. So leave a comment of something you've done lately that brings you joy, or like if this made you think about anything. I don't really know. I'm out here trying. This is me trying and having fun doing it, but it's also a little stressful and a little bit of a struggle. But that's the beauty. That's the beauty. I'm going insane. Let's go. See you on the next one. Bye bye.
I'm freezing outside. I feel my skin tight. My coat is inside.
I really hope I didn't talk in circles and like that made sense because I'm still learning how to do all of this like video essay type of stuff. Video essay is already a scary word to use, but I guess that's what I'm doing here. I hope my craft turned out nice because that's what I'm about to go do since I wasn't doing it while I was talking here. But I guess that's not the point. It doesn't matter if it turned out good because it's about doing the fun and doing the thing, right? That's the whole point of the video. But it probably turned out good because Anytime I'm having fun making crafts, I do good.